I'm from Mogo Studios in Sri Lanka, and we are an indie studio from Sri Lanka. However, we are looking towards releasing our first international feature film in another 2 years. And we have been doing research and development for about 2 years now, and for about another year, we've been in pre-production. So that's our story. So I'll just first take you through what animation currently looks like in Sri Lanka, and what animation means to us in Sri Lanka, and how it started. And then we'll discuss about Mogo. All right. So Sri Lanka. I mean, most of you guys must have heard of us. We are just below you all, just a tiny little island right at the south. So we're a creative bunch of people, and originality really stems in our DNA. So what we try to do is sort of like what you guys have already accomplished in India many, many years ago, which we are just starting, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it up to the level that you guys have done here in India. So that's Sri Lanka for you. Let me just dive directly to the animation industry in Sri Lanka. So when it comes to the animation industry in Sri Lanka, it's still very new, and we have only a handful of studios that are, as you can see, in animation, there is exactly 5 studios, including us. However, we have over a 65% market share when it comes to all of the animation studios, because most of the studios we have are not fully fledged. So they're not going all the way from concept art to VFX composition. So they will do a little bits and pieces of whatever. And also, other thing is, most of the animation studios that we have in the country are mainly focused towards TV commercials and these small animation gigs, because their capacity is really small. Some of them have like 5 to 10 people working on a few projects that come in. So because of that, still the local industry, when it comes to animation, is in its inception. And we've also started rapidly hiring new people, training new people, in order for us to be able to produce high-quality content in a short period of time. Then moving on, the gaming industry in Sri Lanka is a little bit more evolved, I would say, than the animation industry, because we actually have 2 studios. The first 2 studios that you see here, RAM and Arimac. So they have actually produced 2 games, which have sold on Steam, which they've been able to, gross and cover their expenses and all of that. So, but if you take Behavioral, for example, they're an Australian-based firm. They're working on this cricket game where, so likewise, we have different studios working on different projects. So at Mogo, we are also into games, not just animation. So we've also come up with our flagship game, and we're currently looking for investors for our game. We've come up with the gameplay, we've come up with the teasers, and right now we're pitching to all these different people in order to get funding, because the game is based on Unreal, and we are reaching out to any and all who's interested, and that's our work with regards to Mogo Games. All right, so now when it comes to animation in India, we've seen that you guys have a plethora of institutes offering different various courses, plus you have a lot of skilled resource available in the country. But when it comes to Sri Lanka, we do have quite a few institutes that offer courses in animation. However, these are very general courses. So if you say most of these courses would be something like a bachelor in multimedia, right? So they will teach all the way from graphic design to animation. So the graduates that come out of these programs, we can't necessarily use them plug and play, right? We need to send them through an extensive training program before we put them onto our processes. And that's also due to a fact that the universities that are currently here are all private universities. So students have to pay and attend these universities. And also at the same time, we have a lack of skilled staff, like skilled lecturers who actually know very much about the subject, who will be able to teach the students the whole gamut of things. So these are a few issues that we face when it comes to finding the proper talent to hire for our work. So this is actually something we'd love to explore with you guys. If any of y'all are interested, we can have a chat and see how we can collaborate in order to produce better quality talent within the country. Because at the end of the day, our entire point of this whole operation is to make sure the animation industry in Sri Lanka grows. And along with that, we'll be able to have a big animation ecosystem within the country. So that's our end goal, and that's what we're trying to do. So any and all help and collaboration and partnerships are welcome. All right. So Sri Lanka actually released its first animation feature film. Although it was not an international release, it was only for local release because it was in the local language. However, it managed to surpass all box office records in the country when it comes to the cinema industry, the local cinema industry, grossing over $1.9 million. And yeah, that was Sri Lanka's first ever animation feature film. So kudos to Gajaman and the team. They did a marvelous job. There were a few hiccups on the way because it took quite some time to push this movie out, and it was in the works for quite some time. But given where the industry is at the moment in Sri Lanka, this was a great start. And so what we plan on is to build on this stepping stones that Gajaman has been able to sort of put into the local industry and then expand it internationally. Because what we are currently working on is set for international release because the local market is extremely small. But however, this proved that there's a huge demand for animation locally as well, because none of the movies, live action movies, have come even close to this number when it comes to the local market. All right. So I'll come down to us, Mogo Studios. So we started in 2020, and one of the key things that we focus on is that our render is all real time, right? So we are using Unreal Render. So because of this, we had to go through a lot of R&D, and which is why you can see from, although we've started in 2020, we started actual work on our movie just last year, because we had to get that Unreal pipeline sorted out because no one has done that yet. And we were the first to make an actual feature film on Unreal. And I'll get to why we went with that entire process. in my next slides, but just for you guys to give an understanding. So in 2020, we did a short called Elephantastic, and in 2021, we did another short called The Answer. So The Answer actually won the Next Generation Award at Digicon 2021. And we also did another short just this year called Riley and the Wooden Sword, which also managed to bag the Regional Gold Winner Award at Digicon 2023. And yeah, the all-awaited feature film is set to come out in spring 2025, which I will show you guys a small work in progress file of. And that will hopefully give you guys an understanding of where we are. So this is our showreel. Thank you, guys. So that was a few of our work from the short movies we have done. The feature preview was not included in that. That will come up after this slide. So yeah, our debut 3D animated feature film, which is going to be The Secret of the Moonstone. So as I said, why we wanted to go ahead with an Unreal render was because of, and it's an easier pipeline to work with, and also it's easy for us to do more and more changes in real time, right? And this is something we needed because this is the first time that we're doing something like this. And we don't have any talent locally who has actually made an animated feature. So none of us knew what we're doing, so that is why we sort of went ahead with the Unreal renderer, because real time we can do the changes we want and all of that. Plus, it also reduces our cost of putting a render farm or going for a render farm. So all of these are taken into consideration, and also the time that it takes. All of this taken into consideration is why we've decided to go with an Unreal real-time renderer. And also, we have a Vicon motion capture system that we utilize for an entire movie. So it's a hybrid pipeline, right? We do motion capture, and we animate on top of the motion capture. So again, why we have done this also is because, as I said, we don't have experienced local talent. And for us to do the movie in-house, our animators are not at the highest level of skill levels, right? So for us to make sure the animation was very good, what we did was we motion capture everything with actors, and then we animate on top of it, because the motion capture will give you real life movements, which we don't want on a cartoon movie, obviously. So then what we do is to smooth it out, we animate on top, but it's a good balance so that we don't mess with the motion capture too much either. Yeah. Let's show you guys our showreel, our preview of the feature film.